Good evening, Kinderlach. God willing, here's to go weiter in Acharon Shel Pesach. This is labeled as two different years. I'm not sure if I should tell you it's Chaf or Mem Zayin. Maybe there's excerpts from both years. Anyway, we're going to, with God's help, start Os Beis. In Os Aleph, we learned about that Mashiach has an aspect of the king, and an aspect of the teacher, the Rav. And he's giving you three styles of influence. One that you can understand, because he's so loving and kind, he brings himself all the way down that you could get it, even though his nature is to be exalted. Gives you something you can kind of get, but you can't fully wrap your head around it, but you sense it a little, and then he gives you something you don't even know what's happening. It's just helping you go. So even if you learn Chassidus and you don't feel anything's happening, you're still getting this tremendous Etzem Dik Ashba. So as always, we're learning to bind our souls to God, give pleasure to God, hasten redemption, further the Rebbe's Malchus, and hopefully give some nachas. Alright, Os Beis. Mamshik b'maimer. The Maimer continues. The Kol Zeh Hainu Hashpad and Rav Hein Hashpad and Melech. Whether you're talking about the influence that comes from a king or a teacher. This comes from specifically all the work we do in Gullus. So what does Gullus have to do with the revelations of the future? So the Maimer is going to talk about it. That on account of all the concealments and hiddenness of godliness that happens in Gullus, if you can see godliness, you kind of just, in your natural way, you can go and serve God. It's right there in front of you. See God, why wouldn't I serve God? But when God's hidden, you have to go in a way of netzach, in a way of victory, overcoming, power, overcoming the obstacles and the hiddenness and the concealments. No matter what, I'm gonna serve. I'm gonna keep going. Lios chazak became a Torah mitzvahs with Pol Mamish, that you'll be very strong in your Torah and mitzvahs. Lios hashiv im shumanei and nakiv. That doesn't matter what's going on. You are going straight. You're gonna serve God, do your Torah and mitzvahs. That's it. The klasu inin avodah mesiris nefesh l'mayim l'tam b'das. And generally, this is the avodah of serious nefesh. I got to come up with a good translation for that. It's the avodah of self-sacrifice to some degree, pressing yourself, not literal self-sacrifice, but going against the grain, going against your nature, in a way that doesn't even really make sense. It doesn't make sense to serve God. I'll tell you what makes sense. Go for the big bucks, go for the taina, go for the pleasure, be a big hedonist, and just don't hurt anybody. That's a mistaken philosophy that pervades our world. And we're living in a time where now the sheker appears to be the emes, where even back in the day, everyone knew God existed and everyone knew it was real, but to live up to it was something else. But people know what was true and what was false. It never reached such a point like today where even the falsehood appears to be the truth. Now people are like, yeah, that's it, just go for yours. Let's just feel good and not worry about anybody else, be completely selfish, and just don't hurt anybody. Why not? It's all about me, right? It's my time, I'm alive, I got life, it's my life, it's mine. Oh, God gave it to me? Yeah, okay, we'll talk about that another time. Give me another piece of cake and another this and another that, and let's go on vacation and we'll talk, okay, sometime. All right. So to serve God in the present time, it takes a lot of self-sacrifice, and it really doesn't even make sense. You really have to have a very deep spiritual connection to God to want to serve at all now, to make any move. I mean, to dress in kippah and tzitzis, to do any of the service. It's not in a sense. It doesn't really make sense to do it. What makes sense is to go for yours. We have a physical aspect. Nice, I have a soul. Okay, that's great. I also have a body. It wants things. It makes sense to try to get those things. You really have to have a tremendous awareness of God, or a soul connection, or some type of deep emunah to want to serve God. It's not really what makes sense to serve God now. So how do we do it? How does it happen for a Jew? Because the only way you get trapped in that pit of hedonism is you start to reason and back and forth. That makes sense. This doesn't. No, you don't even start that discussion. Just like, okay, there's God, then I'm going to serve Him. God's the Almighty. He's running the world. He knows what's best. I'm going to do that. Don't give me any calculations and this could be and maybe. No, there's God. That's it. Finished. Let's go straight. And in such a way, don't even talk to me about that, but it just can't be any other way. If I say to you, hey, it really doesn't make sense for you to leave the house wearing pants this morning. You don't have time, it's going to be hot, they stick, come on, it doesn't make sense. You're not going to listen to me, it doesn't, no, I wear pants. When I leave the house, I wear pants. That's it, finished. There's nothing to talk about, it can't be any other way. That's how your service of God has to be in time and goes. And that's what we mean. We say it has to be in a way of victory. No questions, no answers, no discussion. Let's go. But it's not in a way of reason. You're just shutting it down. Because I said so. That's it. Finished. Because when the temple was standing and godliness was revealed and you could see the open miracles every day, we were on a very high spiritual plane then. It's much easier to be an elevated being when you see and experience God in an open, revealed way. In addition to the fact that people had a much better intellectual grasp of God then, and could be they were smarter, they had higher neshamas, but on the other hand, it could be that the revelation from Mount Sinai was much more recent, that God was more revealed in the world, and it's a lot easier to wrap your mind around what you can see rather than what you have to reason into and figure out. But with your reasoning and figuring out, you can reach higher, but that's not the message of today. We're talking about during the temple was standing, the Yidden were on a higher level. Should have it back right away. And 3 times a year, we'd head up to the temple on Pesach, Shavuos, and Sukkot, and we'd get to see godliness in a way that was beyond comprehension. The miracles that were there were beyond reason. But this isn't true during our time. See, Yeshna. It says in Gullus, wondering where this is from the Zohar, it says in Gullus, Hashem's asleep. It doesn't mean Hashem's asleep. Maybe it means I'm asleep. There's a lot of sleeping going on. What does it mean that we're asleep? Let's see. The sages say, that when a human being's asleep, all his inner powers are concealed. He's not thinking, reasoning, all the things he's doing during the day. None of that's happening. It's all shut down while he's sleeping. His intellect's not on. And all that's left is your power of imagination. You can have dreams when you sleep, but they don't really make sense. But, there's still something going on there. And the main concealments that come from sleep, it's with your ability to see. That even your body recognizes it. That your eyes are closed. So too with Gullus. It's like, let's say I assume we're about to say your spiritual eyes are closed. You can't see, you can't think in a normal way. You're not thinking properly, sensing properly, making the right decision, moving forward in the right way. Well, let's see what the Rebbe says. Lost the place. Kmo kein hu b'shena de Gullus. The ikar elam de Gullus hu masha b'zman Gullus. Lo yeshna riya belakus. Yep. In Gullus we don't see godliness. We see the physical world. Oso seno loreno, we don't see signs. Agama saga belakus, and even our understanding of godliness that, you don't have to see to understand. You could explain something, to wrap your mind around it, but even that, Sheshna Gamazmana Gullus, Eno Be'er Klaus Sagazwana Beis, but it doesn't even compare to the type of understanding they had when the temple was standing and godliness was open and revealed. Vacha Sagazwana Gullus, the Gabi Sagazwana Beis, who bedu was called Damadishana. And to make a comparison between our understanding of godliness now to the understanding of godliness that people had during the temple was standing, it's similar to how your mind works when you're awake, to how your mind works when you're asleep. I gotta keep my finger on a spot here. Alright, I think I know where we are. And because of that, you're not thinking properly, seeing properly, your love and fear of God aren't on the most perfect level. In addition to the fact that you can't really have a true nullification to God because you're not seeing it, you're not apprehending it to the same degree, you can't really reach the same level of awe and appreciation and self-nullification to godliness. In addition to that, in addition to that, you can't really have an essential inner bittul where I feel that my inner nullification, where I feel the only thing that exists is God, and I only exist for God, and I only exist as part of God. In addition to that, even the external nullification that we have, where we bend ourselves and we do Torah and mitzvahs and we try and we push hard and we help another Jew and we love another Jew and we give tzedakah and we try to reveal godliness as much as we can. Even that level, see what the Rebbe says, that comes according to our limited understanding. It's still not really on the level it should be because the understanding is not proper. Because it's not a true understanding that you have now. You're like a sleeping person's understanding, so to speak. So what's the voda now? What's the service now? But when you really have to overcome, I mean, it takes you can't go according to what makes sense, what you see. You really just have to go from the idea that I know there's God and I'm moving forward. I'm going to win. No questions asked. It can't be another way. If I could see it and understand it, okay, I can reason it out and I'll go. You know, I plan a business. I plan a business venture. Does it make sense? You know, count the dollars, count the cents. And if it makes sense, I'll go forward. If it makes dollars, I'll go doubly forward. And if it doesn't, I'm going back. I'll try something else. Can't do that because it's not really making sense. You're not seeing. You can't add it up. So you have to, you really just have to move forward on faith and just from the power of victory that's in your soul. Like, I'm aware there's God. I look at the universe. I see a creator. I want the temple. I want Mashiach now. And I'm going to do whatever it takes to make it happen. Period. I don't want to hear otherwise. See what else we got. And as time goes on in Golos, it gets worse and worse. Marizal, the Loven shall Rishonim, Vana Kamali Nekav Machat Fikus. It's some type of comparative statement. I don't know exactly what this says from the Gemara. Try to look it up if we get a chance, Blinetter, without the power of a vow. Some statement in the Gemara that indicates that we're not on the same level as they were in previous generations that were in Golis. Particularly now in the generation of the heels of Mashiach, Rabu is almost a time that the concealments and darknesses are getting ever more increased. A few hundred years ago it was still Golis, but people were aware there was God. The right thing to do was serve God, and if you were going to be a hedonist, you were just a guy going after your own. You know, you're some selfish person. Now people are reasoning that, oh, it makes sense. Why should I have kids? I don't make my life harder. I want to be all about me. Why should I do that? I want a lot of money. I want a new house. Okay, fine. It's nice to want those, but to think that's what God made you for. It's to such a degree that it's so concealed. In addition to that, our minds are weaker. So it's even harder for us to serve. We even need more of this power of victory to go forward in our service to God. And even a guy who's a big Torah scholar, he understands, he can follow his wisdom. No, also not, because it's not a true understanding. Understanding is not like seeing, and it's not like a palpable feeling. It's nice to have understanding, but even that, it's not in a really true way. To have a true way of understanding, you have to see it, you have to be it, you have to live it. Now we're figuring it, and the figuring can always get you in a little bit of trouble. You can't figure so good all the time. So we're really just going straight, no questions asked, that's it. I know there's God, I should serve Him, He's the Almighty, boom. Let's go forward and make the temple happen. I said that already. Because if you use your noodle, you can always twist things a little bit and go off the path of truth. Like, who was the most logical society in the world 70, 80 years ago? You know, they were the pillars of enlightened people, so to speak. They weren't an Enlightenment movement. They were like the most supposedly forward-thinking society in the world. You know, and look what reason did. Look how they were able to twist. Reason can always be twisted one way or another because of your heart. You know, you can bend a reason this way, bend a reason that way. For example, why did Hashem wipe us out with the flood? Because He saw what was in our hearts. Why did He vow to never wipe us out again after Noah offered the sacrifices? Because He saw what was in our hearts. They're people. So the same reason could be used for two completely opposite effects. One was to bring the exact same reason was used to bring the flood, and the exact same reason was used to never flood the world again. So it all depends on how you look, what's in your heart, what's your mood, how's it going that day, did this happen, did that happen? We know it is. We're all human beings. I don't think anyone here is 2 or 3 years old that's listening to this. You know about moods and hearts and how the mind can be moved one way or the other. You know, you're laying in a bed in the morning and you say, it doesn't make sense to have 7 bowls of ice cream tonight. Then at night you're hungry. Maybe it's not so bad. It'd be good to have a couple more bowls of ice cream. And I'm trying to pick something pretty innocuous here, you know what I mean? But, you could find a way to reason up those bowls of ice cream where it's the best idea you ever had. It makes sense. It's going to make you healthy. It's going to make you serve. Then I'll be happy. and then I'll exercise, and I'll be nicer to my spouse, and that'll make God happy, and I'll be much, it's unbelievable what the human mind can do. So we can't rely on our minds because it's not really the path of truth. Product shops and Starbucks almost in Stern Canal, Rockland, Homer, Chazak, Shalom, until Chassidus, Shulchan Aruch, Mashum Minyan, not sure, that we shouldn't waver from the path even a drop. We have to serve in this way of Netzach. No questions asked. Let's just go. That's the end of Beis. I think we're going to hold here because I'm getting a little fatigued. It is late at night. But I did want to mention, I didn't mention it in the middle of the Sikha, but the Rebbe says many times we could have eternal life in these bodies. All we have to do is receive the face of Mashiach. What does that mean? It does mean learning Mishnayos. It does mean making videos like this and teaching Inyane of the redemption, teaching the topics that deal with Mashiach and redemption, or just learning them to yourself. You don't have to make a video. Making a video is very nice. You feel engaged. It helps you engage you. Feel like you're talking to someone. I don't know if anyone's ever watched these videos, but it gets, as a person, it gets you going. There's a lot of other things you could be doing besides making a Torah video. You know what I'm saying? You could be having 7 bowls of ice cream right now. In fact, you never know. I might push a button. I might go find me some ice cream. Lucky I don't have any here because that'd be a little too easy. But I won't go to the store, but might be a little chocolate in the fridge. You never know. But I was puzzled because it seemed like there's this one act we could do, and we'll have it. We'll have it. It'll be done. We'll have the temple. We'll have everything. But I heard recently from Farbrengen by Rabbi Shel it's a different type of greeting here by Mashiach. It's an ongoing greeting. You're greeting someone who's coming into your life and coming to be present forever and ever and be the mainstay of your life. You're not like, hey, have a nice cup of tea, see you later. You're coming to someone. This is a constant, ongoing greeting. You're greeting Mashiach over and over and over and bring him into your life. A person could do such a thing. The Rebbe says the world's refined enough we could have eternal life. So let's have it. Let's love each other even when the other guy's doing wrong. Let's try to turn the other cheek. Let's try to look at the good. Not that what he did is right, but have to keep in mind that's coming from God. We're only responsible for our part. And if we're not perfect, we have what to believe in, how to stay happy. And if that happens, God's cleaning us up during those times. And, we have to remember, he's a holy Jew. He's a guy who's also trying to serve God, and he has a holy neshama. And we should try to focus on the good. And I want to tell a quick joke. But yeah, let's see the good in people. Let's stay focused, love our fellow Jew, give charity, help those in need if we're in a position. Let's learn. Let's teach someone. If you learned anything from this video, please pass it on. I'd love to get some feedback. If there's any feedback out there to be had. Let's eat kosher. Let's have taharas mishpacha. Let's have family purity. Let's have a house full of books. Let's put on our tefillin. All the good tzaken. Alright, just a short, quick one. That's nice and sweet. Alright, what's the difference between, and I got this from Rabbi Gordon online. So you might have heard it before. You probably heard it if you watched this. You might have watched it. Who knows? What's the difference between an economic recession and depression? I tell you what it is. Recession is, God forbid, your buddy loses his job. You know what depression is? That's when, God forbid, you lose your job. Alright, Mashiach now, people. Have a good night.